Hello, YouTube. Let's talk about ship-launched fighters and Elite Dangerous 2.2, at least through Beta 4. Now, Beta 4 had some important changes, and I wanted to hold off on doing this video until I actually had a chance to see what it would take to level up NPC pilots. And now that they've kind of fixed the UI problems that were showing up in previous versions in the Beta and Beta 4, now I kind of get a general idea of how all of that works. First off, in Beta 4, they buffed a couple of aspects of the fighters. They gave them all across the board a 12.5% increase in damage per second. Also, they buffed their boost speeds across the board at 150 or added 150 meters per second to their previous base speeds. Now, they did balance the fighters a little bit now, where the F-63 Condors, the fastest of the lot, going 535 or 560 in one configuration. I believe that the Imperial fighter now is a little bit slower, but it's still the most nimble and agile. So it basically trades agility for speed. I believe it maxes out at somewhere around 500 meters per second now. And then the Taipan fighter, with the boost to their speed, it can actually keep up with a modded cutter now. And it is the slowest but tankiest of the three. It's not the most maneuverable, not the fastest, but it will take a couple of 3 hits and keep on ticking, where the Imperial fighter will basically take 2 or 3 hits and they are done. And the Federal fighter can take 4 or 5 hits. The Taipan can take 5, 10, 15 hits, depending on how good of a pilot and all those other good factors. Now, the fighters are pretty cheap. I fly with a size 6 fighter bay, which allows me 2 different fighters at one time, and I get 8 replacement fighters for each type for a total of 16. They're cheap. They're disposable. Don't be afraid to fly them, make mistakes. And one of the best uses I've found them is when you're on a planetary surface like here, is that it allows you to get out of your big honkin' mothership and then fly a small nimble fighter and go canyon running or fly very close to the surface of the planet without having to fear about running into it. Or if you do run into it, you can just shrug it off, and even if it destroys your fighter, no big, huge loss. This makes them particularly effective for Anaconda pilots who maybe get interdicted by, say, an FDL or something like that. So you can deploy a fighter, have that fighter distract the FDL, especially if it's an NPC, and then be able to make your escape and not have to worry about leaving that fighter behind. It'll self-destruct, and again, it's so cheap and replaceable, nobody really cares, I don't think, about losing them. And I think that was the idea behind the fighters. How effective are they at PvP at this moment? I really can't tell you because I haven't had much of an opportunity to really fly them in a PvP type scenario. I've just not had a lot of time over the past couple of days, period. Now, one thing that I did notice in trying to level up an NPC, I got an NPC from mostly harmless to novice, I believe, with about 20-25 kills. And it didn't matter if I was tagging and doing all the killing on my big ship, or if they were doing the tagging and killing in their little fighter. Either way, they got the count, or they got credit for the kill if they got guns on the target at any point during the engagement, and it would level them. So exactly how many points or how many credits or how many kills it'll take to level somebody from mostly harmless all the way up to elite, don't know yet. The other thing that I noticed here too is that as they increased in rank, their initial payout remains the same. So if they only take 2%, even if they go up in rank, where normally they would start taking 4 or 6% of your income as, quote, salary for being on board, that it remains at 2%. So this means in the long run, it is most economical to get a mostly harmless pilot and then level them up to elite. As opposed to saying starting with an expert pilot that takes 12% of your income and leveling them to elite. They will always take 12%. Now, the other thing that I noticed, and again, this being Beta 4, I'm assuming this is how it works. It could be that this is not how it's designed to work and it's just bugged right now. But it does not appear that your inactive pilots take any salary. So that means you could have an NPC expert pilot on staff from the beginning and deploy them when you need them. But they're not going to sit there and take, if you have, let's say, 2 of those on your inactive deck, they're not going to sit there and take 24% of your income through every mission and bond and bounty that you turn in. It only seems to be the pilot who is actively aboard your ship at the time. Now, I haven't tested some other things around doing this, like, dismissing the pilot to the inactive tab on the crew lounge before handing in assignments and things of that nature. If it will still deduct the payments and things like that, I haven't scienced the shit out of it yet, just simply because I haven't had time. So those are going to be some things to consider and look at, and I'm sure other people have. Or at some point over this weekend, I'll probably get the opportunity to sit down and experiment that with a little bit more in depth. I'll probably Twitch stream that live, so be sure to check me out over there at twitch.tv/SK Unimatrix or Schoonomatrix or whatever you want to call it. At any rate, that's basically my kind of thoughts and ideas on fighters thus far. I'm going to be carrying a fighter bay on my cutter. Just for no other reason than, get out and fly something that's fast, maneuverable, and fun every once in a while, as opposed to just having my big lumbering mothership pirouling around the galaxy. So, at any rate, be sure to leave your experiences in the comment section down below. Like, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And see you next time.